God power. I'm rapping this God power. Hey, welcome back to that God Power channel. This is the channel where we're going to unlock the God power that's laying dormant on the inside of you. But today, what we're going to do is continue breaking down the book of Matthew like we have been doing. The last video I put out yesterday was the chapter 7 in the book of Matthew, and it was really heavy. You should go back and watch that. It's a lot of things that Jesus was teaching in that book or in that chapter that are noteworthy. But today we're going to continue breaking down chapter 8. And chapter 8 is also pretty heavy. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in chapter 8. It actually could be like a movie in its own chapter. But if you guys didn't check out chapter 7 and you're not caught up with any of this, you might want to go back and watch some of the older videos. And I'll put some links in the description box. But other than that, let's jump into chapter 8. So at the end of chapter 7, Jesus was finished talking to the crowds and everybody was amazed, like, yo, nobody teaches like this. This guy is really wise. So chapter 8 starts. When Jesus was coming down the mountainside, he had large crowds following him. And then as soon as he got down, this dude came up to him with leprosy. And he was like, God, or Jesus, can you heal me? Please, Lord, heal me of my leprosy. And Jesus healed him instantly by saying, be healed. And his leprosy instantly disappeared. And then Jesus told him, don't tell anyone about this. Instead, go to the priests and let them examine you. Bring them the offering that's from the book of Moses that says it's the offering you're supposed to bring when you're cured of leprosy. And this will be a public testimony that you have been cleansed. Now, Jesus is on some powerful stuff here, just cleansing people instantly. And this is what the motif of this chapter is actually about. So going on, Jesus goes back to Capernaum. That's where he came from, the city where he settled at. And a Roman officer came up to him pleading. He was like, Jesus, I have a sick servant at the crib. He's laying paralyzed in bed and he's in horrible pain. And Jesus is like, all right, I'll come and heal him. And then the officer said, wait, I'm not worthy to have you in my house. Can't you just say the word from where you stand and I know he's going to be healed? And the soldier felt unworthy because he was under authority from his supervisors, and he also had soldiers under his own authority in which he commanded to go back and forth. And when he says jump, they say how high. So he didn't feel worthy of having Jesus in his home. But as soon as he said that to Jesus, Jesus was very amazed. And he turned around to the crowd that was still following him and said, look, I tell y'all the truth. I have not seen faith like this in all of Israel. And many Gentiles, which are non-Jews, will come from all over the world, from east to west, and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob at the feast of the kingdom of heaven. But many Israelites, those who the kingdom was prepared for, will be thrown into the outer darkness, where there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Yeah, that sounds like hell to me. So after Jesus finished describing that not everybody's going to be sitting at the feast in heaven, he turns back around to the soldier and he says, yo, go home. Because you've believed, it has happened. And the young servant was healed in that same hour. So Jesus has been healing multiple people now. The nighttime came and they brought so many demon-possessed people to Jesus. And he was just casting out spirits with a simple command. And then he healed all the sick people that they brought to him too. And from here, this is going back to a prophecy from Isaiah. And Jesus is actually fulfilling another prophecy. The prophecy says that he took our sickness and removed our diseases. And that's exactly what Jesus is doing for the people. So in verse 18, when Jesus saw all the crowds around him, when he was about to cross the lake, he instructed them, cross to the other side of the lake. And one of them was like, no, teacher, I'm going to follow you anywhere you go. And Jesus said, look, foxes have dens to live in, birds have nests, but the Son of Man, I don't have a place to even lay my head. And what Jesus was trying to say to those guys is that, or the people, I shouldn't say just guys, because I'm sure there's women following him too. But what he was saying to those people was that if you follow me, it's not going to be an easy path. This is the option to turn back right now. Sometimes following Jesus means that's going to be a great sacrifice at a high earthly cost and no earthly rewards or security. But Jesus, he didn't have a place to call home, and he wasn't thinking about that. He was thinking about getting his mission, his message out. And so he was saying, if you're going to follow me, it's going to be a hard road. Just understand we just going to live like this. And if you're cool with that, then that's what's up. But if not, you should turn back now. Another follower spoke up and was like, Lord, let me first return home and bury my father. And Jesus said, nah, follow me now. Let the spiritually dead bury their own. Woof. And Jesus was talking about the spiritually dead because those weren't people who were enlightened. They were people who were still under the old law and following laws that weren't even of God. So he's like, let them take care of their own. So then Jesus got into the boat with the disciples, all his followers, and they started across the lake. Suddenly, a big old storm came, and the lake was like waves was crashing everywhere into the boat, and all this wind, and they didn't say lightning or thunder, but I'm sure if it was a storm like of that magnitude, there was some lightning and thunder. But either way, Jesus was catching some Z's. He was asleep. He was like, I'm tired. I'm just going to sleep through this one. And the disciples woke him up, and they're like, Lord, save us. We're going to drown. And Jesus responded, why are you afraid? You have so little faith. Then he got up, and he rebuked the waves and the wind, and it was completely calm. His disciples were so amazed. They're like, yo, who is this dude? Even the waves and the wind obey him? That is crazy. And just imagine if you seen somebody get up out their sleep during a horrible storm and be like, yo, chill out, waves and wind, and then everything stop. Yo, I would be flipping my shit. I would be like, yo, exactly like they were. Like, who is this guy? But when they landed on the other side, they landed in this town called Gadarenes. And two demon-possessed dudes came up and met Jesus. They actually lived in a cemetery, and they're so violent that nobody could even get near them, or near that area even. So they walked up to Jesus, and they started screaming at him, why are you interfering with us, Son of God? Have you come to torture us before God's appointed time? If you cast us out, please send us into that herd of pigs. And Jesus looked at them and said, all right, so go. And the demons came out the men, and they went into that herd of pigs. And then the herd of pigs just started going crazy. They jumped off the cliff and they drowned themselves. And that was crazy. So there were a couple people in the fields watching around, some herdsmen watching this go down. And they ran away to the next nearby town telling everybody what happened to the demon-possessed men. And so that caused the entire town to come out and meet Jesus. But they're not coming to like praise him and say thank you. They actually came to meet him to beg him to leave. And that ends chapter 8. And it definitely ends on a cliffhanger, and I love it, yo. This is actually like a 30-minute episode type chapter where I could see it in an episode. You leave me with that cliffhanger, like everybody comes out to meet Jesus, but they're mad at him. Yeah, this is good. So hopefully you liked what you heard today and you learned something. And catch me on the breakdown of chapter 9 coming up soon. Hopefully I'll release it in the next day or two. But if you like it, click the like button. And if you want to hear more, click the little bell so you can get notified every time I post. But other than that, I just want all y'all to have a wonderful, beautiful day. And remember that you got that God power.
Living the God power. I got the God power.
Tapping the source, caught in the vibe. I just thank God I'm alive. I just thank God that I'm fly. I just thank God for my rhymes. Every night, these lyrics they step in my spirit.